Hey everyone, and welcome to episode 92 of the Traveling Boss Podcast. Here with Jeremy Parker. How you doing?
Good, thank you.
So where are you originally from and where do you live now?
I'm originally from Orange County, California, from Santa Ana, and right now I live in Nicaragua in Central America.
So that's actually really cool to me because not only do you live there, you're not like a digital nomad, you have like a family.
Yeah.
What brought you out there?
Well, about 6 years ago, we've been out there about 6 years now. At the time, I did have another job that I could do remotely. I was doing sales, and I was doing that out of my house in California. And we were looking for just another lifestyle. We were getting tired of the grind in California, and we knew somebody who lived. It was actually my brother. He lived down in Nicaragua. He really liked it a lot. And I had spent a lot of time in Latin America in the past. It was always a place that I really liked. And so yeah, my wife and I talked about it, and we were ready to make a change, and so we just went. We just bought a ticket, sold all of our stuff, moved to Nicaragua with our 2 kids that we had at the time. We had 3-year-old twins. We have 3-year-old twins. We have twins. They were 3-year-olds at the time.
Okay.
Yeah, so we went down there to give it a shot, and it's been 6 years, and we're still there.
That's cool. So what were you and your wife doing in Orange County?
I was working a sales job, and my wife was working at Costco.
Okay. I heard they have good benefits.
Yeah, that was the good thing. Good benefits.
So was it hard for the two of you to leave, or I mean, what actually made you decide to move down there besides just to change pace?
Like I was saying before, I've always liked Latin America, and I've lived down there in the past, and I was always kind of looking for a location-independent job. I was always looking for. I would always go traveling, and I'd save a bunch of money. I'd go traveling. I'd spend it all, and I'd have to go back home to make money. So I was always looking for a more permanent, solution.
And was this before you read 4 Hour Workweek, or was that even out then?
That was, I read the 4 Hour. That started to get the wheels turning. Yeah, it was before I read it was before I read the 4 Hour Workweek. Yeah, it was before it came out.
Oh, really? Okay,
yeah,
cool.
That's when I was kind of already thinking along the same lines. When that book came out, I was like, yes, this guy he's like really, been able to define and clarify some thoughts and feelings that I've always had.
And so were you already in Nicaragua when that book came out?
No, I was still in California when it came out, and I was doing a sales job.
Okay.
And but that really got me thinking about how can I? It made me realize, hey, I could take this job that I have now and move anywhere, And then it also got me thinking about how to really like automate some of the sales that I was doing at the time.
Okay.
And
what type of sales was it?
I was in medical sales.
Okay, so like medical devices or?
Yeah, medical devices.
And you would go not door to door, but like hospital to like make an appointment with a doctor to sell them to them, or how does that work?
Yeah, I would do it mostly over I would do it all over the phone.
Okay.
So it was a medical device that I could sell. We would target doctors' offices and it was something that I could sell over the phone.
So nothing to do with you or this interview really, but I'm just curious, and I may be wrong, so maybe you can shed some light on this.
Yeah.
But I've heard that one of the reasons why insurance is so expensive and hospital bills are so expensive in the U.S. Is because hospitals are kind of almost like a little bit too built up with too many different medical devices, where if they don't use it, they end up losing money. So sometimes they'll have people do, like, let's say, extra tests on, like, they're like, okay, they go up to the 12th floor to do this test, even though they may not actually need it.
Oh yeah, that kind of thing happens all the time, and that was something that I saw in the industry I was in. They're getting they were and still are getting reimbursed for all of these different medical procedures and tests they run, right? So they get paid by private and by public insurance payers like Medicare and stuff. So they're always looking for an opportunity to run a test and get a big reimbursement from the insurance company.
I knew someone who worked in pharmaceutical sales, and they used to be able to just pretty much bribe doctors. They would take them out to 5-star dinners, pop bottles of champagne. They would give them Mont Blanc pens and just different gifts.
Yeah.
Was that also similar in your industry?
No, I didn't. In what I was doing, I wasn't able to do that. I mean,
Okay.
I didn't want to do. One of the reasons why I stuck to just doing sales over the phone, I didn't want to have to. Like I said, I was always looking for a location, something that didn't tie me to a certain location. So what I was doing, fortunately, didn't involve any of that. But some of my competition did do that.
Oh yeah.
And so that made it tough for me, because I'd have my competition would show up at the doctor's office. They'd buy the whole stack staff lunch, right? And it makes it hard to.
I've even heard of crazy things like they would take staff to Hawaii.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is like what's, thankfully I think it's regulated now, but they've stopped that. I'm sure there's still something people do though. I mean,
Yeah.
when there's that much money involved. But that's one of the reasons why our U.S. Healthcare system is so messed up.
Yeah, it is. It really is. It gets really expensive.
All right. Well, thankfully we're here in Thailand where healthcare is super cheap, so you can go to a hospital and just pay cash. How's it in Nicaragua?
In Nicaragua, it's the same way. There is public health care, but the infrastructure is not too great there. The public health care is free, but it's not too good. But the cost of living there is cheap. You can get good private care. It'll cost you, but it's still affordable.
Okay. So before you moved, friends and family, coworkers, just people, when they found out you're moving to what I guess people consider a third world country, Central America, with 2-3-year-old twins, like how do they react?
Some a lot of the people who really knew me, they weren't, for those people, they weren't surprised at all because they knew me. But for most everybody else, they were they couldn't quite believe it. They had everybody's got all these fears that are based really on just no experience in a foreign country or what it's like to live there.
What were some of those fears, if you remember?
They're usually very general in nature. You hear people say things like, "Oh, but what about the law? Do you have any rights there? Or the laws, they must be so different. They just I don't know. I think they have a hard time imagining it being just a regular place where normal people live.
Okay. And since you've been there, so how long have you been there now?
6 years.
So that's basically your home now.
Yes and no. I mean, but at the same time, we know that we're not going to be there permanently, but we enjoy living there, and yeah.
So what is it about Nicaragua? I know you say you enjoy Latin culture. There's a low cost of living. Like, what else about Nicaragua specifically do you like?
I think that apart from just liking Latin America in general and the pace of life there. At this point, what's probably keeping us in Nicaragua is the friendships that we've made.
That's cool. And your kids, are they at school?
Yeah, they are. So I have those 3-year-old twins that we moved down there with are now 8 years old, and they're in 3rd grade. They go to a bilingual international school down there. And then I've got, since we had 2 kids, in the last 6 years. So I've got a 3-year-old daughter and another daughter that's a year and a half.
So it's a family, technically it's a family of 6.
Family of 6.
4 kids.
Yeah.
You and your wife.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it got crazy real quick.
Yeah, I can definitely see that.
Yeah.
Did you have the kids while you were living down there? Or
Yeah, we did. We had the kids while we were down there. We got pregnant with both of the younger girls when we were down there, and they were both born there in Nicaragua in one of the private hospitals there.
Okay, and it was fine.
Yeah, it was great. It was a great experience.
How did that birth, I guess, compare to the hospitals in the U.S.?
It was just as good.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Because I think that would be someone's worry, right?
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
I'm sure people said something.
Yep. Yeah,
they would
absolutely.
bring that up.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. We got that question a lot.
Okay.
Yeah, but we probably wouldn't have had them there if the conditions weren't good and we didn't feel safe.
Yeah.
So that was something that we had definitely researched beforehand.
And so cost-wise, because normally in the U.S., I guess, I don't know, actually I have no idea, I haven't had kids yet, but does insurance cover childbirth?
No, I don't. No, we personally don't have any kind of health insurance.
Okay. So let's say for your first set of twins, you had them in the U.S.
Yeah, we had them in the U.S. That was a little different of a situation, but I mean, I can tell you what it cost. I think that what it cost in the end to have each of our 2 children in Nicaragua. I'm kind of going back in the memory banks here, but I think that it was probably about, not counting the medical visits that were involved, that led up to, the actual day that, my wife gave birth in the hospital. I think the hospital bill was probably around $2,000.
Okay, and that was in the U.S.?
In Nicaragua, yeah.
And what about in the U.S.?
That's what I don't remember. I think that but when we were back in the U.S., I think that it was actually even cheaper because we qualified for some kind of low-income plan. And
okay.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Yeah, but the $2,000 out of pocket, that's not bad for anyone. Anyone will do that.
Yeah, it was.
So what about just finding you know how people always worry about like having the right diapers and the right baby formula, the right, you know, whatever else kids need. Was that hard to get down there?
No, it wasn't. They've got you know, you can get, I guess, what you would call, you know, the same products and things that you would find in the U.S. I mean, they're not as prevalent. You don't have as wide of a selection, but yeah, you can get all the you know, regular diapers, and you know, if you need formula, you can get formula and things like that. You know, all of the you know, all the major comforts. That
well, because even like getting like electronic equipment out here is kind of hard. So
yeah, it's the same way. It is the same. So it's
Yeah.
the same way down there. You know,
Okay.
it is. It's the same way. Some things can be a real pain in the butt to get a hold of. You know, but.
But I think, like, for me, being out here, it forces me to think what's actually important. And I have so many friends at home who buy all this stuff that I would probably own, to be honest, if I was in the U.S. If I was in the U.S., there's a small chance I might have, like, an Apple Watch, like one of those self-balancing hoverboards.
Uh-huh.
I don't know, maybe a quadcopter or like a drone or something.
Yeah.
I'd probably have all this crap.
Yeah.
And just because it's cool, it's new, and it's pretty, you know, it's easy to get.
Yeah, exactly.
But being out here, I don't have any of it, and honestly, I don't miss any of it. You know, maybe I'll have some of that stuff in the future when either I really need it or it becomes really cool. But yeah, I just think, you know, I don't have a closet full of expensive toys for no reason.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah, exactly. I know it, and I like it too. It helps with basically, you know, it's like impulse control. You know, you can't get it, you know? So it's like the
and
things.
if you really want it, you have to ask someone to get it for you.
Right, bring it in. Yeah, exactly. Bring it when they maybe miss, you know, somebody's making a trip down to Thailand or whatever, and you ask them to put it, ship it to them, do that whole thing. And right, and then of course you're burdening them with like, you know,
Carrying
space in their
something for you,
luggage and all that. So yeah, you tend to buy less, which is good. It's funny, you know, when we do go back to the States, and we go back occasionally, right? Then you know, we're online, you know, buying all kind, buying all the stuff that we can't get in Nicaragua to take back down.
Well, what I do is I start sending things, usually on like Amazon or wherever I order it, to my parents' house like a month or two before I'm gonna get back home. And when I get there, so my dad always knows when I'm going on a visit, because I'll have a package pretty much every other day. It's just show up, and I'll get home and I'll have a pile of stuff that I forgot I ordered.
Yeah.
And I'll go through it all, and like I think by the time I even get it, I'm like, oh, did I really need this? And some things, you know, I guess are definitely all better. You know, like for example, you can buy flip flops out here, but you can't buy like Luna sandals. You know, you can't buy like, you know, great, you know, like $80 running sandals.
Right.
And for me personally, I do want those. You know, I do want the best quality sandals. You know, same thing with, you know, you can't buy like merino wool t-shirts here.
Yeah.
But you can buy a standard V-neck t-shirt for $3 or
Right.
$4.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's kind of a weird dichotomy where there's some things I do want and they would make my life better.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you know what? I think what it is I can wait a year.
Right.
You
can wait a year, and you know, all of your, you know, these are all, you know, extra like luxury items, really. You know, all of your necessities are taken care of, and you can live, you know, very comfortably here. You can really get everything you really need, you know.
So we're here in Thailand. What's the differences so far for you between Nicaragua and Thailand? Kind of pros and cons of each.
I think that, you know, the climate's similar. It's you know, it's tropical in Nicaragua, so it's sunny. You know, you get a lot of rain. There's a rainy season and a dry season. You know, a lot of tropical fruits, like I see here in Thailand. So in some respects, it's similar. It's actually much more green and dense and lush here.
Okay.
In Thailand, but in many ways it reminds me of Nicaragua, but the culture and the people are totally different. My impression, and I've only been here, you know, about a week, and this is my first time ever in Asia, but and in Thailand. But my impression is that the people here, they seem to be very, very friendly and gentle, and that's as opposed to maybe the Latino culture might be a little more, I don't know, not that.
Okay.
Like a little, you know, I mean, I love it, but they're a little more, you know, that's not so graceful, a little more rough, you know.
Okay, I like that. What about the food?
The food here is incredible. The food in Nicaragua, it's very good too. It's like a rice and bean based cuisine, you know, tortilla meats, like that whole area of Latin America, like a lot like Mexican food, but with less flavorful sauce and things.
So I have to admit that I had to pull up a map, a Google map on where Nicaragua is. 'Cause I knew it was somewhere in Central America, but I had no idea. So I've actually been to Honduras and Guatemala, and Honduras sucked. Hated it.
Didn't like it.
It's terrible. Sorry for anyone that's Honduran listening to this. And Guatemala was incredible. It was to me like Antigua, Guatemala. Have you been up there?
No, I haven't been there.
It's like the Chiang Mai of Central America. It's pretty cheap, beautiful, like lots of temples and culture. Well, I guess it wouldn't be temples, but like churches, old churches, culture, really nice people, cobblestone streets. Just it's smaller, it's friendly. I really liked it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, the city that I live in Granada, Nicaragua, and that's often compared to Antigua. It looks very similar. I think Antigua is a little more restored, but it's a similar atmosphere.
Okay. So Nick, I'm zooming in. So Granada, is it? How far is that from the ocean?
Yeah. Well, okay. So it's right there basically on the shores of Lake Nicaragua. So it's the big lake in Central America, and it's not far. Like as the crow flies, it's probably just, I don't know, I would say maybe 20 miles maybe from the ocean.
Okay, so I mean, like, let's say you were driving.
But if you were driving, it would take about an hour and a half. I would say to really get where.
Okay.
Right.
And is it a nice beach?
Yeah, really nice, really nice,
Okay.
Really nice beaches.
So
really good.
Are you talking like like what you would expect? Like white sand beaches and.
Not white sand like in the Caribbean, but like you get like in most areas you've got like green jungle, like going right up to the shore there.
Nice.
Pretty beaches, nice nice water and good surfing and stuff like that.
Okay, cool. And the lake itself?
The lake is immense. It's really incredible. There's the cool thing about the lake. I've been out on the lake a few times in a boat, and there's an island in the middle of the lake called Ometepe, and it's two basically big volcanoes in the middle of the island. It's a really cool spot. It's like going back in time 30 or 40 years or more. I'd say like going back in time 50 years. Rural, just agriculture. Oxen pulling carts, things like that. Really nice.
Yeah, that's really cool. That actually reminds me more of Guatemala again, because there's a place called Lago Atilan. So Lake Atilan.
Right.
And it's a huge lake in the middle of Guatemala. That's beautiful, and it's people are still making tortillas by hand. Grinding corn. Yeah, it's a really nice place.
Yeah, I've heard great things about it.
So one of the reasons why I wanted to move to Honduras from Thailand a few years ago, I wrote about it a little bit in 12 Weeks in Thailand, my first book, was I really like Mexican food. I like the culture, and I thought, in my mind, I'm like, oh, Central America, it's right next to Mexico. They have rice and bean tortillas. Yeah. I was like, I'm going to love the food. And it was exactly the way you described it. It was kind of like Mexican food, but without the spices, without the flavor.
Yeah.
So it's just like eating really crappy, bland Mexican food.
Yeah, and I apologize to all my Nicaraguan friends, but yeah, it's true. I feel the same way. It doesn't really excite me too much, but there's some good stuff.
And in all the restaurants, they use this cheap hot sauce. I don't remember the name of it, but it just tastes like vinegar. It wasn't really spicy.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
But the nice thing is, you can go into stores and you can buy hot sauce from. I think it was from Belize. That was made with like mutton peppers.
Okay.
And it was so good.
Huh.
It was like the best hot sauce I've ever had in my life. I actually remember the way I got introduced to it. I don't know if I ever told this story before, but there was a guy on my island. I was on Utila, which is this little scuba diving island, which is kind of like a shadier version of Koh Tao, I would say. And there was a guy on the island that was known for selling crack.
Okay.
and I guess cocaine too.
Okay.
So he'd sell crack to the locals, and then cocaine to the tourists.
Okay.
And he came up to me one day and he was like, "Hey, I got this new stuff for you." And I was like, "No, I'm okay." Like,
yeah.
I'm okay.
Yeah.
And he's like, "No, man." And he told me the story. He's like, "Oh, my buddy, he's been living on this island like near Belize, and and he's like, I'm really excited for this." And I didn't know what he was talking about, right? So I was listening to him, and he's like, yeah, he's been growing these mutton peppers, like they're the best, like the best chilies in the world. And I'm looking at him like, what is he selling me?
Yeah, what are you talking about?
And he pulls out a freaking bottle of hot sauce. I don't remember the name of it now, but I remember it specifically saying like, mutton peppers from Belize. And he's like, man, this is the best, you've ever tasted. You have to try it. And I was like, I'm okay, I'm fine. And he's like, no, just take this bottle. The first one's free. And it worked because I ended up buying like 5 more bottles.
That's hilarious.
It was the best I've ever had.
That's hilarious. Oh, that's great. Same sales tactic he was using with the cocaine.
You know what? I really think that like if someone's good in sales in one thing, they can and they believe in the product, they can get it in something else.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm gonna see if I can even find the name of it because I'm sure everyone on here is trying to find the name of the hot sauce. But also the rum was really good. Like they had Caribbean rum from I don't remember which country now. Let me think. Probably. I don't know. Where do they make good rum in?
Yeah, I know Guatemala makes some really good rum. Nicaragua makes some really good rum, and then in the Caribbean, all through the Caribbean, got a really good rum. That whole region.
Yeah, and so does it extend down to Nicaragua? Or is that too far?
Yeah, that's their drink too. They make really good rum.
Yeah, I remember I would have these rum and cokes that had whatever the local rum was. Maybe it was from Nicaragua, I don't remember. But it was cheap, but it was super good.
Uh-huh.
And they had Coca-Cola in glass bottles.
Yeah.
So it was made of the sugar cane.
Right.
Instead of the high fructose corn syrup.
Right.
So it just tasted better.
Yeah, you can taste the difference.
And then there was a guy on the island who had key limes. And he had this little organic farm on the island, which had the best fruit I've ever had in my life. Which was funny because 99% of the fruit and vegetables from the island came from the mainland on a boat once a week.
Okay.
So it would wilter if you didn't get it on the first day.
Okay.
So it was so weird that they had all this land that can grow like this amazing fruit and vegetable. Probably the best I've ever had in my life. And he said it was all organic. All he would do is use seaweed that washed up from shore.
Oh, wow.
And that was his secret.
Interesting.
And I asked him about bugs and like, how would he deter it? And he just said to me, he's like, look, when a tree is healthy and is strong, it doesn't get eaten. And I needed to look this up because it kind of makes sense, but at the same time I don't know because but he swore by it. He said he's like I don't use anything on there. Like I just keep the trees extremely strong, extremely healthy, and they resist bugs naturally. He said bugs go after easy prey. They go after things that are already the defenses are down and they're easy to go after. So
that's an interesting analogy for the human body as well, right?
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, our body can fight so many viruses and so much bacteria if we're strong, immune system's strong.
Yeah.
But as soon as we're a bit weak, our immune system's down, we get hit by everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right. That's really interesting.
Yeah. So, I don't know how we got on this tangent, but I think one of the things about living there that I didn't like was kind of the mentality where, how you're kind of saying like I think in every culture there's the pros and cons,
Mm-hmm.
Even back in the U.S., there's pros and cons of being American.
Absolutely.
Like we're very entrepreneur, but maybe we're not as compassionate. In Thailand, people are super friendly and they're very respectful, but at the same time, they won't confront. They won't like make a difference if confrontation is required. They rather just avoid it, just not deal with it.
Yeah.
On Utila or in Honduras in general, I think I asked one day, I was like, why isn't everyone growing their own vegetable here? You have it's perfect. You have this island with all the space. And he's like, honestly, people are lazy, and he's like, the Hondurans there, they just can't be bothered. And I don't know if that's kind of like the laissez-faire attitude, But what I like about Thailand is everyone is like, they kind of hustle, Like if someone doesn't have a job, they'll sell fruit on the street corner.
Yeah.
What is the culture like in Nicaragua?
It's interesting there, I suppose each region of Nicaragua is a bit different. There are bigger cities and smaller towns and rural areas. But what you said about people being entrepreneurial and being out on the street hustling and making a living selling, fruit or shoelaces or whatever is true about Nicaragua too. The people, there's a lot of poverty there, and because there's a lot of people in need. They're out there trying to do whatever they can to make money. Selling movies on DVD. Pirated copies. Things like that you'd see for sale on the street. I would say in general they're very hard workers there. At the same time, the culture is it's pretty laid back in general. So sometimes, like myself as an American coming at things and wanting to, really get things done, and I'm used to, things working in a somewhat efficient manner. Like, let's say, for example, I want to go and pay the cable bill. It's usually pretty easy for me to get something like that done. Well, in Nicaragua, it can involve, standing in a long line somewhere, and just a lot more work than you really want to, maybe put into that. So sometimes that can get a bit frustrating, but.
Okay. Yeah, I can definitely see. And it's one of those things where I really believe there's no like perfect place in the world. So we just have to kind of accept things and be like, well, you know what? We get all this, life is easy. Overall, it's comfortable. So these little things, instead of dealing with something else, we're dealing with this.
Right. Yeah, that's true.
All right, so I did find the rum that I was talking about. It's called Flor de Cana. Ron Flor de Cana.
Yeah.
Do you know where this is from?
Yeah, that's a Nicaraguan.
Is it Nicaraguan?
Yeah.
Okay. So
yeah.
This stuff is awesome.
Yeah, it really is good.
I'm sure if you guys look around, wherever you guys are at home, you can find this brand somewhere.
Yeah.
I'll have it in the show notes. Unfortunately, I couldn't find the mutton pepper hot sauce online. Maybe because it's. I don't know, maybe just not that popular. But if you could find mutton pepper hot sauce from Belize, give it a shot. If it's good, that's what I'm talking about. If it's not good, I'm sorry. But all right, so you've been out there now for 6 years.
Yeah.
And you said you were working remotely for your sales job
yeah.
in the beginning.
Right.
What are you doing now, and how'd you get into it?
So now I'm drop shipping full time, and that's all I'm doing. Then the way I got into it was probably about a year and a half ago or more, between a year and a half and 2 years ago. I actually heard you, Johnny, as a guest on another podcast, and it was totally unbusiness related. But you had made some comment about drop shipping and living in Thailand on this online business you built. So I remembered that, and it registered immediately. It was just what I was, my mind was kind of going in that direction at the time. And as soon as I found, what turned out to be Anton's course, Dropship Lifestyle, and signed right up, started going through the modules, and was just in love with it from the start. It was perfect.
That's cool. How long did it take you to kind of get through it and build your store and make your first sale? It
took me. Well, I actually made my first sale before my store was really even finished being built. But I would say that it took me probably about. It took me a little while. It took me about 3 to 4 months to get my store put together. And but while I was putting it together, I would actually land some random sales. People would come across one of my product pages.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So that's what really gave me enthusiasm.
So your ads weren't even on?
No, my ads weren't even on.
So in retrospect, why didn't you just have those ads on in the first place?
I wasn't at that stage yet in the program.
Oh really?
Yeah, right.
Wow,
where I was just kind of still trying to put everything together. I had a little trouble with my layout and finding the right theme and basic web page layout for the products that I was selling. So I changed that a couple of times. That set me back a little bit. But anyways, I eventually turned the ads on and things got even better. But yeah, that's what really gave me encouragement, is that I was just getting these these random sales, and I thought
that's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it happens. I think it's just because if you pick a niche that doesn't have that much competition, sometimes they'll just find it organically.
Yeah, right.
And in the course, he teaches you not to rely on that. That's kind of like bonus cash.
Yeah.
So I guess fast forward, how long has your store been in? Up and running now? It's
been up and running for probably about 10 months.
Okay, so it's been a little bit less than a year. What percentage of your sales are from organic traffic still, and how much of it is from paid ads or referrals or other things?
I would say about 75% of my sales are coming from paid ads, and the other 25% from organic.
Yeah, that's about the same as mine too. So to me, the organic stuff is just kind of bonus.
Yeah.
But I don't focus on it. I think that just comes naturally.
Right. Yeah. We're in the same thing.
I like it. So were you still doing your other job while you were building up your store during those couple of months?
Actually, I was doing something else. I was doing some property management. That sales job that I was talking about that ended a few years back. I was doing some property management. I was actually working part-time at managing a restaurant down there.
Okay.
Nice. Yeah.
And With your store, how long did it take you to like make enough to actually support your family? Because there's 6 of you.
Yeah, there's 6 of us. So the good thing is the cost of living isn't very high there, right? So that's one thing to consider. But it was really, my store was profitable as soon as I turned the paid ads on. Like it was, I was making sales, and I would say about 2.5 to 3 months, after having everything live and on, I was making enough money to cover all of my bills.
That's cool.
Yeah.
How did your wife feel about that?
Yeah, she loved it. Yeah.
Does she help you with your store at all? Or what does she do?
She takes care of the kids.
Yeah, I mean it's a lot of kids to take care of.
Yeah, it's
okay.
Yeah, believe me, I would rather be building on stores. It's a lot of work, right?
How was it to call suppliers or manage the stores, from being overseas?
It was actually no problem at all. The good thing about Nicaragua is it's either in mountain time zone or central standard time zone, depending on the daily. It's basically within the U.S. time zone, so that's not an issue at all.
I think that's awesome. I keep forgetting how crappy it is to be in time zones here. So now that you've been in Thailand for a week, how have you been managing your store and customer service?
Well, I've been a little tired lately because I'm still doing all the customer service myself, which luckily doesn't really involve a whole lot. But I've been before I go to bed at night, I stay up a little later than I normally do. At 11 or 12 o'clock at night, I'll check my email, check my voicemails, make sure nothing's going on or needs attending to. And then I've been setting my alarm for like 4 o'clock in the morning.
4 a.m.
Yeah, wow. To make sure that if somebody, if an order needs to be fulfilled, I've got time to send the order over to the manufacturer before the end of business day.
Man.
Yeah.
That's hustle.
But part of the thing that I do is offer fast delivery. We get it right out to you. So.
Yeah. Have you ever thought about just hiring a VA for that?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm just about ready to pull the trigger on hiring a VA.
Yeah, because I think it's so. In my talk at the retreat, I kind of stress how kind of fortunate I was that because I started in Thailand, I always knew like I had to get a VA as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
But I think if I was in Nicaragua or the U.S. time zone, I would have put it off as well.
Yeah, I think that's exactly, and I realize that's what happened. Is that for me in Nicaragua, it's really no big deal. I can, if I'm not putting in some actual work into trying to grow the store and change things and promote. If I'm just kind of checking to make sure if orders came in and fulfilling things, I can literally just log in, around 10 a.m. Make sure nothing's going, see if anything's going on, and then log back in around 3 p.m. And make sure so it doesn't really require that much of me, and I'm there, so it hasn't really been hasn't been too much of a discomfort yet.
So what do you do so tell me about your typical day on a weekday.
So my typical day is I've got young girls, right? I've got my youngest one's not quite a year and a half yet. She gets up really early. She gets up about 5:30. So I'm up with at least her, and then after she's up, the others they follow. So by about 6 a.m. I've got 4 girls there in the house, and we're doing breakfast, and we're getting ready for school. At 8:30, about 8:15, I walk my twin 8-year-olds to school. It's just a few blocks away. I drop them off at their school, and then from there I go back home and start working.
Okay.
I usually work from about 8:30 or so to maybe 1 o'clock, 12:30, 1 o'clock.
Okay.
And then after that I usually just kind of leave it open, and
Is there still that much to do with your store? I mean, are you still adding products or suppliers, or what are you actually doing?
Yeah, I am. I'm still I haven't always had this schedule. I was working quite a bit less for a while, but I'm now adding, reaching out to even more suppliers. I'm expanding the catalog, tweaking my product listing app, shopping app.
Was there any points where you really got stuck, or what was kind of the hardest thing about the process?
I would say the hardest thing about the process for me, the most frustrating part, was getting the website set up the way I needed it to be set up. I think it was, in my case, I was looking for something real specific and a little more complex way of sorting through things and a layout that I kind of wanted just right. So part of the fault might have been me and some idea I had that it was maybe more difficult to execute than it needed to be. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that's what hung me up at first. Yeah.
And but before that, did you have any website skills?
Not really. No, not really any at all. No, just basic computer knowledge. Just normal computer user. I always use my computer for work and learn learn whatever software programs and things that I needed to know for that kind of thing. But no specialized skills.
So that's pretty cool that you were able to just learn all that.
Yeah. It was actually awesome. It was really cool. I've learned like so much. I feel like I've gone to like 4 years of college.
Yeah.
But squeezed it into just like 6 months.
I always tell people that. So
Yeah.
like, it's owning a store, an e-commerce store, just like starting it, learning how to do everything, running it, is better than an MBA.
Yeah, it's like it's great. I've learned so much, about business in general, and online, business, it's just the whole thing. I've learned a lot.
What made you fly all the way here from Nicaragua to Krabi for this retreat? Actually, first, how'd you even get here? Like, what was the flight like?
The flight so there are no direct flights here from Central America, so what they do is I had to fly from Managua, Nicaragua to Los Angeles, from Los Angeles over to Thailand. So it's quite a bit, with the layovers and stuff. It's like, pretty much like a 2-day thing, But I wanted to come out because, I've been really, really excited about being a member of the course. I've just learned so much, and was just really excited to finally meet people that were doing the same thing. I'm working on my own in Nicaragua. I don't really work. There's not anybody else down there that's doing what I'm doing. So I knew that coming down here and meeting people was gonna, I wanted to make these connections, and I knew that it would really help with my motivation and just keep my enthusiasm alive. I knew there would be tons of things to learn.
So how did that work out? So first, let's talk about just like the networking. Like, how many people have you met that are kind of the same situation?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So it's been really great. I mean, this has been just awesome. I think I was told there were about 150 people here. It seems at the conference.
I think it's a little bit less.
A little less.
I think
like 100.
Like 100.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So there's a lot of people here. I probably was able to at least talk to and get to know to some degree 80% of those people, So, just talk to a lot of people. It was really interesting hearing everybody's story, and everybody's coming from a different starting point. So it was, it was great. It was really great. It was priceless.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. And was it motivating?
Oh, absolutely. My motivation is it's through the roof right now.
Nice.
It really is. I'm trying to keep myself in vacation mode, right?
Uh-huh.
I'm out here really not to be in front of my computer right now. I'll be back home soon enough, and I can do that. But yeah, I'm really excited about implementing all the things that I learned.
Actually, just before you came, I was retweeting my Google ad campaign because of that speaker, Michael.
Yeah.
Where he gave such value.
Oh my gosh.
Oh man, that hour blew my freaking mind.
Yep.
And I don't know what he charges normally, but I think he charges like at least $1,000 a month for retainer, just like if you want him as a client. I mean, if you want to be his client, where he like manages your ads for you. But the fact that he just taught us everything that he does, and he says, okay, well, you guys can do it yourself now.
Yeah.
To me, that was like, wow, like this is gonna allow me to not only save money on ads, but also spend more money on ads that convert better.
Yeah.
And it was like, I mean, it's things I never would have thought of on it.
Right.
And I honestly don't even think it's out there. Like, I think I could have taken courses or researched it. I don't even think it's out there yet.
Yeah, I know it. I think that I was just starting to clue into, really using negative keywords well. Just a couple of weeks ago, I was just becoming aware of it, and I actually had recently done just kind of research what I was paying for ads, and I realized that I had spent like about $1,000 on ads over the past 3 months that were totally worthless.
Wow.
Because, I mean, looking at the search query, because there was one word in there that,
Just didn't apply.
Didn't apply, and my product was coming up, and I was, they were clicking on it. So, just by like eliminating that one word, I saved myself, tons of money. And what this guy presented, what Michael presented at the conference, is just, next level. Yeah. So I'm really excited about implementing.
Well, what's really funny is I logged into the member forums today, and there's a thread about like the traffic module. I think it's module 6, and one guy was really excited about it because I think he was new, and he's like, I think he said like, this module is blowing my mind, and then people were responding saying like, he's like, this module needs to be updated. He's like, because the course came out 2 years ago, and that module talked about things like Amazon ads or the Find, and things that no longer either are being used or no longer exist.
Right.
And what was really cool was somebody replied saying like, hey, like, Anton, can you please update this module? And so I think Anton's sister replied saying, guess what? Like, we just hired this super expensive SEO ad guy, Michael Erickson, and he said, we had him redo the module, but instead of being 15 minutes, it's almost 5 hours worth of content.
Incredible.
Which is insane.
It's insane. I know it. I can't wait to go through that.
Yeah, so I clicked on it. So it's all up yet. Obviously I haven't had time to watch it yet, but
Right.
I'm gonna sit down. And actually, Larissa, I just spoke to her on FaceTime. She's excited to go through it too, because I manage all the ads for now.
Okay.
But she wants to learn it as well. And now she has a 5-hour course that I think if you bought it separately, it would probably be a $1,000 course just on its own.
Yeah, right.
Because if you're gonna hire this guy, it's $1,000 per month. So it kind of makes sense if you can just do it on your own. It'd be $1,000, or even say let's say $500.
Yeah.
But what's cool is, I honestly think that Anton could have upsold it. He could have said, all right, members, if you want this new course, it's, I'll give it to you for only $300 or $500, and people would have bought it. But he just put it up there. He's like, all right, guys, here's the new update. It's free.
Yeah, I know. That's what's so awesome, is there's constantly new content being added to the course, and it's all just you're already a member.
Yeah.
So you get the new
You're
content.
a lifetime member.
Yeah, exactly. It's beautiful.
Well, I mean, that's the same thing that I'm doing with my course, Ernest Affiliate, is in the beginning, it was just like the couple core modules where I knew it was just enough for people to get started. And my idea was always to keep adding stuff. But I think I didn't really tell people I was going to keep adding stuff. I did mention, like, okay, once you're in, you're a lifetime member, you get all the updates. But I think for most people, they don't actually update stuff. They just kind of say, okay, well, I'm making money, it's fine. But in my mind, I've always known, like, okay, I'm going to update. There's a bunch of things I want to add.
Right.
So every week, pretty much, I've been adding a new module, a new traffic source, a new case study, and the members who got in at 197 are super happy, because eventually this course is going to be, I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get 297 and then 497, and I'm sure people are gonna, some people are gonna complain saying, oh, it's 497 now. I'm just gonna say to them, like, look, there's like, twice as much content in there now, and also you probably had a chance to buy it when it was cheaper. Like,
Yeah.
You should just start it.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
And same thing with Anton's course. I think he didn't specifically mention it yet, so I don't want to say anything, but he said he's gonna raise the price again.
Okay.
Especially now that all these new this new traffic module's in there, and then I think he's adding some other things too. And I'm sure people are gonna complain again. People are gonna be like, oh, now it's, I don't know, $1,300, which is a lot of money. I understand.
Yeah, it can be. Yeah, I
Yeah.
do understand that. Yeah, especially if you don't have any extra money to spend. Like $1,300 can be a lot.
Yeah, but I think the reason why he's able to keep raising the price is because he does keep adding content. He has these live events like this, which really are priceless. And that the system really works.
Yeah, it does. Yeah. It's good. I'm so happy that I joined the course when I did, and and I'm a member. It's taught me so much. It's
and
how I'm surviving right now.
Yeah, and like to me, I mean, the other way I think of it is like ROI, right? Like if let's say you invest in something that has very good ROI, maybe you make 10% back per year, and so it takes you 10 years to recoup costs. I'm sure you're making more than the cost of the course per month now.
Oh yeah. Oh, easy.
Yeah. So right then, that's 120, 1,200% ROI per year.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
It's insane.
Yeah, exactly. It's a no-brainer, really.
Yeah.
If you're willing to put in the work, you can really build a business from scratch, and just really even a couple of months.
And I think just being here and meeting so many people who are successful or have profitable stores, that really inspires me to keep sharing this, because unfortunately I hear from people. Usually people online who I haven't met, so just like random comments or in a forum or something. They're like, oh, dropshipping doesn't work, And when you're, especially like, let's say you're living like in Nicaragua and you don't have a community around you, or even for me, I'm in Chiang Mai, and a lot of people are either just starting out with stuff or they're doing other things, and there's not that many dropshippers around. Right now, like actually for the last couple of months, there weren't that many around, just for whatever reason. Yeah. Sometimes I start thinking like, oh, well, maybe people aren't as successful with it as I think. But then coming here and I meet all these people, they're like, oh yeah, we're doing great. Yeah. Especially there's a whole crew of people from Australia.
Yeah.
Did you see
them?
Yeah,
I met a lot of them, yeah.
And they're all doing fine, and they're all making sales, they all got suppliers.
Right.
And I'm just like, why do I keep hearing online that it doesn't work in Australia?
Yeah, well, we met tons of people. I don't know. I mean, we've met a nice sample of Australians here that seem to be working really well for.
So I think, meeting people in person, hearing hearing their story, kind of figure out like who they are as a person matters so much more than some random anonymous person online.
Yeah.
So who hasn't even done it themselves, who's not a member.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. That goes a long way. Yeah, meeting somebody face to face and like, yeah.
And those people, like 99% of those people don't post online, which is weird. I mean, unfortunately, I wish they would.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I'm one of those 99%.
Do you?
Yeah, I don't. I've posted before, but I'm not a regular poster.
So can I ask you why?
Yeah, I'm trying to actually figure out if I feel guilty about it or not. But it's really just, because the forum has actually helped me quite a bit, especially in the beginning when I was getting things set up. But I have just been really busy running with the business that I created that got up off the ground and running, and I haven't really I haven't had really any questions. I've just been spending all my time really on my business and trying to keep that going, push that forward, and I don't spend too much time online that's not like business related, And I know that the actually being part of the forum and active in the forum would actually technically be business related, but it's
not on running your actual core business.
Right, exactly. I try to I really try to limit the amount of time that I spend on a computer per day. I love running an online business. I mean, I couldn't be happier about my living situation right now. But I don't want to be in front of the computer like 8 hours a day. So I'm online. I do my work, and I usually turn it off until the next day.
Yeah, and I think that's probably the case for most people who have like a successful store, because they don't really have an incentive or reason to go on like a forum on Reddit or on even on Facebook to like talk about this.
Yeah. Right.
And they're just like, okay, well, I mean, you probably don't even realize, like, you never even see people online, saying like, oh, it doesn't work.
Yeah. No. Yeah. I mean,
for
myself. You. Yeah. Right. No, I don't really see that.
Yeah.
Every once in a while, I will see random comments like that, but they're really meaningless to me. I mean,
if anything, are you ever just like, well, too bad for them?
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
I mean, because it's a very simple, like, logical system. Everybody's drop shipping, really. As far as like, there's a large part of the percentage of business is done in the world is like really done, via drop shipping. You just really have to put in the work and get it running.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that people say is like they think of all online businesses, because it's online, as like an overnight success. Like you just set up a website, turn it on, it's done.
Right.
But I'm sure in this interview and every other interview I've ever done, like, we've never said, oh yeah, you can get rich quickly.
No.
We've all said it takes 2 months, in your case 3 months, 4 months to even start it.
Right.
And then you're still working, and like you're still running as a business.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it still requires like real work. Especially at the beginning when you're setting things up. I mean, you can get it to a point where you're automating a lot, and it doesn't have to be so labor intensive, and often it's not, doesn't require that much of you at all. But in the beginning, I put in all kinds of work in those first 4 months, with all the things I was changing and learning. It was a full-time job for
definitely. But how does this job feel compared to, like, let's say your old job in medical sales?
Oh man, it's like night and day.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
Well, it's just I'm doing it all myself.
Uh-huh.
It's so like that sense of self-sufficiency, is really cool. And I don't have to answer it to anybody. It's all, I bear full responsibility for whether or not I make money with the business or not. And I like that.
I like that too. So you would ever go back to that old job?
No.
What if your old boss calls you and says, hey, I want, Jeremy, we really like you. I'm going to increase your salary. I'm going to double it.
No, I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it.
For double the salary?
I wouldn't do it. I like the lifestyle. I like doing things just the way I'm doing them now.
I'm proud of you for that. All right. Well, enjoy the rest of Thailand.
Yeah, thanks.
Say
Thanks
hi to your wife and your 4 kids for us.
Okay.
Gonna give her a shout out.
Okay. Oh yeah. Hey Melody. Hi Shiloh. Hi Abby. Hi Luna. Hi Brisa. I'll be back soon.
All right. So hasta luego.
Okay.
Enjoy Nicaragua. Enjoy the rest of Thailand.
Okay.
And thank you for being on the show.
Okay. Thanks a lot.
It's been fun.
It's been a pleasure.
All right, everyone. See you guys next week. If you guys want to join the same program that both me and Jeremy are part of, it's antonmethod.com. That's my link. Or you can just go to johnnyfd.com, my blog, and click under the resources page. If you do sign up, I'd appreciate you using my link so I can get credit for referring you. And as a bonus, I'll give you guys access to my Jumpstart course, which answers a lot of the common questions like niche research, when to call suppliers, and things like that. But it's been a fun retreat, and I am getting ready to fly back to Chiang Mai tonight in a few hours, so I'm about to say goodbye. And Jeremy?
Goodbye.
Hasta
Goodbye,
luego.
everybody. Thanks.
Thank you for listening to the Travel Like a Boss podcast. If you want to hear more, including the bonus How to Choose the Perfect Niche episode, join our mailing list at travellikeabosspodcast.com. See you next week, and remember, if you want to travel like a boss, you need to be your own boss. So start your online business today and start living the lifestyle you've always dreamed of.